the main thing is to make sure that it's a safe space where they have as much time as they need to speak. And that sounds really easy, to provide a space where they can take as much time as they need to speak. I understand in a clinic environment with the pressures of time and all these things, but if you just take that time to provide that space, and then anyone who has a stutter, be they adult or kind of child, but then especially if they're a child and stuff, they will see that they are seen and they're going to be heard. And I think that is so important.
Welcome to the Emerging Minds podcast.
Hi, you're with Nicole Rollbush. On today's episode, I'm joined again by Rich Stevens, President of the Stuttering Association for the Young Australia, or Say Australia, and Mitchell, who's been involved with Say Australia for the last 4 years, first as a participant and now as a mentor to other children and young people. Both Rich and Mitchell have a stutter, and they've joined us again to talk more about what it's like growing up with a stutter, how it can impact children's mental health, and what people can do to best support children who have a stutter. Thank you both for joining me again to continue this conversation. Now, Rich, you did touch on this a little bit before, but I'm really interested in, from both of you, about the language and labels that might be around people who have a stutter, and also some of the things that people do that are actually really unhelpful.
Yeah, probably the worst thing is like you're trying to have a conversation with these new people, like or you or like close one to and you're trying to get the word out, but you can't, and they like try to finish your word or sentence. That's a big no. So. But from the way I've always had in school, like people walk off, people not pay attention. So I just don't really care for those people who don't really want to respect me. So, but the good thing to do is if you even ever met a person who stutter or anything and they're trying to talk to you, just listen to them, just let them talk, be nice, be friendly. So
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I'd hear a lot. A description of my stutter was like bad, worse. I needed to be fixed. So there's lots of negative connotations with that and stuff. If I'm talking and it's described as bad, and then obviously I'm going to take that and I'm going to think, okay, so if I'm talking now and if I have a stutter and I know it's bad, then I know I need to stop that. I know if I do that, it's not accepted around me and stuff. So I have to stop that, or else I'm bad. And it's a weird thing to say, but like if you're a child, these things stick. These things really, really stick. And those are a couple of examples. I think labelling, I was always thought of as anxious. Like anxiety is not a cause. It can exacerbate. I was never shy though, but that's a false impression you get, because I wasn't shy. I wanted to speak, but didn't want to speak as well because I didn't know what the reaction was going to be from other people. There's, you hear a lot. I heard a lot as well as a kid. Oh, it's fine. You'll grow out of it. And even if you think of that, and I know I'm being a bit pedantic here, but so if I continue with a stutter, does that mean I've not grown up then? I know it's a pedantic thing, but kind of words and language are just so important at such an early age. So I never use, and when I talk about mine, I just say strong or not as strong. with the reference to like into my stuttering and stuff. I know everybody's is kind of different, but I think anything which you can say, because as soon as it comes out your mouth, it can never come back. And I think as kids, those things stick. So I think anything which I believe which has a negative connotation, we really need to kind of stop, really, because those things will just be embedded in the child.
Yeah, definitely. I think that hearing that lived experience is so important for language and attitudes to change, and just how powerful those things can be in terms of the meaning that you make from your interactions with people, whether it's, outright saying bad or something like that, or the finishing of sentences or words, or just walking away, and what that sense making is from that. Especially, like you say, when you're a really young kid and you don't know what to make sense of. So, yeah, really important side of things, language and attitudes. And I wanted to ask you, Rich, what the current treatment options are around stuttering.
Yeah, sure. So I think from an early age, what SLPs will tend to do is kind of work with the parents on, in terms of the home environment and stuff, and in terms of how they communicate to their child. They will look at just are there kind of pressures in the home environment and stuff. Is there protected time where communication can kind of happen? And there's sometimes as well where the parents are trained by an SLP to deliver the program at home. And you've got like a range of other programs where they tend to try to kind of work on the speech, to modify the speech, to do the rhythmic approach. There's lots of tricks out there which might have been used in the past, which I don't think are used now. But there's lots of fluency inducing techniques. So if you talk to a B with a word, or the syllable times, that can invoke a lot like a fluency. So there's the modification of speech, which at times it's always a bit of a trade-off, especially when you get like a bit older as well. There's the cognitive behavioral therapy, which is kind of working on kind of thoughts and feelings around your relationship with having a stutter. There's breathing techniques, the coastal breathing, where you talk on your out breath. So there's lots out there. Yeah, I would always advise anyone who's on the lookout for like any therapy or like groups or organizations, just to research it, and to have a look, at the evidence, how it was done, who did it, and to make the choice that, to kind of make the choice that you were comfortable with and happy with. And I also think as well, I think SLPs have a responsibility now to not just to prescribe a single thing to families and to kids who come in and stuff. I think if I was an SLP now, I don't think I'd be spending the first week or 2 or 3 weeks prescribing a therapy and stuff. I'd let the family or the child or the adult tell their story and provide them with the evidence base, provide them with what is out there, and for them to make an informed choice.
And Mitch, what about for you and your experience of seeing a speech pathologist? Can you tell us a little bit about the types of treatment that you've experienced and what it was like to go through those processes with your speech?
Yes. So in primary school, same as Rich, I've got a vivid memory of it. So probably in like grade 1 to grade 4, I did speech therapy in primary school. That was like just like talking to like some speech pathologists that they actually had at the school, and she was awesome for me through those times, like just like talking to someone without being like walked off on or anything like that. So what I did was like just play games. Like that's the memory I've got, just playing games and just sitting down and having a chat with her. Then my mum was finding it really hard to try and find a speech pathologist, because something along the lines of like, I'm pretty sure past the age of 13 or 14, it's hard for, or like speech pathologists don't do kids over a certain age. So I'm pretty sure it's either 13 or 14, maybe if I'm right. So yeah, Mum was always on the phone with always on the phone emailing speech pathologist clinics, trying to call, because at this time in high school I wanted my stutter to be fixed, because I was just at that low point. So just trying to get it fixed, trying to get it away pretty much. So we ended up finding one in Box Hill when I was 14 or 15, and I did that for 2 years of just constant like smooth speech, just like trying to talk smoothly and without stuttering at all. So I did that for about 2 years, and then also he wanted me to do like try and take the smooth speech to like the real world, like to footy, to school, talking to my parents and extended family members. And then I just found that really exhausting and overwhelming. I would always come home to like completely tired from school, and like just like talking with my mates, just trying to talk smoothly. And then even after there's like school hours, as soon as I go home, I would just go in my room and constantly read books, articles, just like trying to be as smooth as I could be. But that was just too exhausting. I would always like go to bed at like 6 p.m, wake up for school and be like completely tired, and that was a really draining. So when I was 16, I was like, I told my parents, I'm like, no, I can't keep doing this because it's too much.
Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of people wouldn't think about, is just how tiring it can be to have to think about speaking. Yeah,
because it's not because it's not really something people think about, like how exhausting it is. And I just remember like my grandparents always trying to tell me and find all these articles on smooth speech. They mean all at all, and I was always like, I like can't keep like finding new ways to like talk and that, because it's just too tiring. So
yeah. You've touched on a couple of things already, Mitch, but what are some of the helpful things that people around you have been able to do for you?
Yes, like just with my parents, they're trying to find articles and all that that was a sign of like, yeah, they're really kind and loving and supportive. And then my parents and my sister have been awesome and amazing, and I can't thank them enough for how helpful they've been. Because like, yeah, meeting new people in social situations, can't get one name out, so like they know. So we have like this. So if I'm like true, for example, if we have hadn't met before, and then you introduce yourself, then I try to introduce myself. I would like look to them, and then they would tell me their name for me. So yeah, that's really good. And then yeah, I can't think on the top of my head how much other things they've done to help me, because it's been a lot. And at school as well, like my mates, even at school, like with roll calls trying to say I'm here, I would always get blocks, or I couldn't even say I'm here to mark me present. So I would ask them to say, can you please just say I'm here, and then they'll be like, yeah, sure. So that was, yeah, really awesome for me. Even and teachers as well, like my English teachers, because we always had to do like presentations in high school and whatnot, because that's a criteria that like that you have to pass, being able to presentate and talk. So all of my English teachers were awesome in the space where I don't have to talk in front of the kids. I could do it at lunchtime, so that was awesome. And if I wanted to, like, just like, because I'm pretty sure in like year 9 or year 10 I had to have at least 4 or 5 kids in my class be there. So I had a few in my friends just sit in the room so they could tick me off. So yeah, so thank God I didn't have to talk as much in front of the classroom, but yeah, that's all what I had to do to pass school. So yeah.
And Rich, I think you mentioned a bit of this in your introduction, but I'm really interested in hearing a bit more about what Say Australia brings to children and young people who stutter, particularly about the impact that your program can have on their well-being.
Yeah, so we provide an adjunct. It's a pure adjunct. It's not a replacement for any therapy that is currently ongoing for like any young people who comes into our world. The essence of what we provide is a safe space where like the kids and teens who stutter can just come exactly how they are. You know, the only ask is that we ask them to bring them, and that is the only ask. We provide a space which is, you know, a lot of love, a lot of empathy, a lot of understanding, acceptance, lots of listening, which I think is key. And we do so in an environment which is fun, and they can show their uniqueness in this space where they won't be bullied, they won't be told to speak a certain way, they won't be told that they have to accept their stutter as well. But what they will see is that they are seen and heard and loved for exactly how they are, you know, and they are allowed to be kids. And I think that is the beauty of what we try and do and stuff. We just want to provide a space where they can be kids. So over the course of 9 weeks or 10 weeks, they get to work in small groups. and they create a unique piece, and if that's a song or a spoken word or a play, and then at the end, if they want to share what they have created, and they are totally in charge of what they create, and then at the end of the program, they get a chance if they want to share their piece in front of an audience filled with family and friends, in an auditorium or a theatre space, or like if we do it online as well, because we do this interstate in the Zoomosphere, as I like to call it. We will do a show in the Zoomosphere as well, but kind of when they share, they have as much time as they want, and everyone is just there, not concerned about how they speak, but just really interested in what they have to say. So we do that all year round, and we do the social hangs every month, so all of those things are free. Our programming is free, the social hangs are free. The only thing that we do charge for, but we try and help families as much as possible, obviously, is we do a summer camp here in Victoria, up in Creswick. Not a fluency camp, not an acceptance camp, just a camp. It's really kind of special. There's a magical essence, a magical time that we have when we are with our community for like 4 or 5 days, and we get to know each other a lot, in the camp environment. So we do all these arms, and it's great, but the essence and the core of it is just providing that safe space for kids and teens who stutter to just come, to be themselves, to meet other kids and teens who stutter. So for a lot of the kids, it's the first time when they come into our space that they've met anyone else who has a stutter. And hopefully, kind of building on their kind of confidence and the self-esteem, and for them to see that, yes, as a person who has a stutter, you can do all these things in life, and you can be an effective communicator as a person who stutters. So, as I said, we're not a replacement for any therapy. We're purely an adjunct to coexist.
Yeah, and I love the simplicity of that message of just be yourself in this space. Yeah. And Mitch, I wanted to ask you about your experience of Say Australia. Tell us a bit about that, and maybe like what's been the best part of it.
So every single time when I think I always was Australia, I always think of my very first day being anxious, being scared, being too frightened as seeing rich. So my first day, me and my family arrived, and I was sitting on the seat, and then as soon as I heard the door open, I absolutely bolted to the toilet. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this at all. My youngest sister, she walked over to where I was, and then she helped me calm down a bit. So as soon as I walked in, I saw all of the lovely volunteers, their awesome smiles, their energy, and then ever since then I've not looked back. It's just a place where you can be yourself without being judged by anyone, not being interrupted. It's just always a friendly environment. There's never been any issues at all. It's just always, just amazing. So it's awesome to be a part of.
I remember that day well. I remember that day, and it was the first ever program that we did. I remember when you were nervous and when you went to the toilet for a bit, and then you come in, and I didn't know if you were going to stay. And then we played a game, and you did this great share with your dad and stuff, and had a big embrace. And then, and then we took a break because it was a very emotive. It was not that kind of game, and you just shared this beautiful share with your dad, and then we took a break, and I didn't know if you were going to come back. and you stay for that day, and it's just been beautiful ever since. And it's like I say, in terms of Mitchell, is he's a person who's been through the programs. He's been through the programs. He came to our first one. He graduated as an alumni, and he's come back as a mentor. He was a bunk counsellor to the youngest boys, which is always a hard age group, and especially at your age and stuff. And there's a maturity in that, and just a grace and just a care, and you've shown. And and I think what kind of better story for someone who's been through it, for someone who's been through our programs. Yeah, because I lead the organisation, or the staff have been involved, but there's no one who's been through it. So your story, your insight is so unique. And as well, we ask a lot of our kids, in terms of, we ask them to take a risk, as in to get on stage as well. I also ask that of the staff as well, because we never ask the kids to do anything that we don't and want to involve them to for as well. So a couple of days ago, and you were on the stage in a packed auditorium with a tambourine and stuff as a backup singer, so and you volunteered to do that, and just a number of things as well on camp. And I think that is, again, it's the beauty of what our space is. It's a healing thing for the both of us as well, as people who stutter, to be around those kids, but to be around the staff as well, our team. And we have a number of our team who do have a stutter, who are adults, and we have a number of people who don't, who are allies, who give us as much time as we need as well. And that's important for and for the kids to see, because if the kids only came to a space where it was led by adults who stutter, it's great still, but I'd say in our space, you'd expect to have as much time, because that's a tagline and stuff like that. But when there's people in there who don't have a stutter as well, who maybe they have never experienced in life, in the sense of, for people who are fluent, don't give me time. That's very important, and it's powerful to see as well. So yeah, we ask the kids to take a risk, and the staff as well. And as I said, it's a healing thing, a rejuvenation for all of us, and it's a special place.
Yeah, sounds like it. And for you, Mitchell, what's been one of the favourite things that you've done? So Rich mentioned you've been a backup singer with a tambourine. Yeah. What's been your most favourite thing?
Oh, well, there's too many to choose, but a little bit a while ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, Rich was telling me about this idea of camp and all that, and I was really excited by it, because we saw, in one of the presentation nights, we saw this movie called My Beautiful Stutter, and it was about this camp in America with these kids who stutter, and all of the volunteers over there, and just made a movie about their journeys, their experience, and then the camp as well. So as soon as Rich gave me said to me that idea about the possibility of camp, and then to see that 6 months ago come to reality, it was just an amazing feeling. It'll be in all of our hearts and in our memories for many years to come. So yeah, that's probably my favourite thing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, Rich, about the advice that you might give to a practitioner who isn't a speech pathologist, who may have a child who stutters come to them for whatever reason, not specifically around the stuttering. Yeah. What advice would you give them if a child with a stutter came to their service?
I think the main thing is to make sure that it's a safe space where they have as much time as they need to speak. And that sounds really easy, to provide a space where they can take as much time as they need to speak. I understand in a clinic environment with the pressures of time and all these things, but if you just take that time to provide that space, then anyone who has a stutter, be they adult or kind of child, but then especially if they're a child and stuff, they will see that they are seen and they're going to be heard. And I think that is so important. It's very easy to interject and to interrupt and to finish off a sentence because you might see a child who is really finding it hard to say what they want to say. And inside us, all we want to do is help that moment, and we want to interject and we want to, try and end a sentence if a child is finding it hard. But I always give an example of this. So a child might be asking for a pen, okay? And you're convinced it's a blue pen, and you see them and they're getting stuck on pen. And afterwards there's a colour, but they can't get that far at the moment. So you see it and you hear it and you just want to help. So you complete the sentence and you give them the blue pen, but they might want the red pen. So I think it's a simple thing that to say, but that child might accept the blue pen because it's easier, and they're like, whoa, I was interrupted then and I was interjected. And even if they were going to say the blue pen, even in that moment, you might think that like you were helping. There's more power. There's more of a beneficial act. There's more of a kindful act. Is if you just like take that inside, that the yearning to interject, and just hold it, and just keep it, because 99% of the time, I'm not going to say every single time because every person is kind of different, but 99% of the time, if you do that, if you just provide that space where you listen and you listen and you listen, and there might be a bit of silence for a bit, but I'm telling you right now, if you do that, you will make that person's day and you will make them feel safe, and you will hear more, and you will hear more from that person. They will share more. And I think the alternative is that they won't, so for anyone who's engaging with anyone who stutters, but especially anyone in health, we want the people who walk through that door, who give us a lot of faith and a lot of trust and stuff, that we are going to care for them. We just really need to do everything that we can for them to share their voice and their story and their thoughts and their feelings.
Yeah, so important. And what about for you, Mitch? What would you tell people who work with kids about things they can do that are helpful?
Yeah, just listen to what they have to say. That's the most important thing. That's what I think and believe. So if you just keep listening, paying attention, keep asking questions about what they're trying to say, that just opens the doors for them to like be more calm, more like not anxious about talking to the person who they're trying to have a conversation with. Because, like, I know for myself, speaking, like, here right now, like, I was anxious like so much talking about this, but now going through all the questions and that, you guys have been really good in like just listening to what we have to say, and now I'm just calm. Like I can just talk without being judged or anything. So yeah, just listen to what they have to say. Really, so yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you've felt comfortable sharing your experience, because it's been a pleasure listening to it. And I wonder what you would say to other kids who are growing up with a stutter. What advice would you give them?
Just be authentic self. That's all what I had to say. Like just be who you are. Just if people don't have the time to talk to you or listen what you had to say, just don't associate with those people who like don't care for what you have to say or anything. So just try and find people who are really nice and actually want to get to know who you are, and then just work through them there. So
yeah, it's good advice. So we've come to the end of our time together, but is there anything either of you would like to add before we go?
I always like to end on just an easy thing, really, and stuff. I think, I think if there's a take home after this and stuff, I think the easiest, the soundbite to take away is the only difference between people who stutter and people who don't is that for people who stutter, when they speak, it just takes them a little bit longer to say the words that they want to say. And that's it. And that is it. And it's just about time. It's just about space. And it's about kind of patience. And that is the only and kind of difference in communication and stuff. So like if it's today or tomorrow or like in a week's time or a month's time, if anybody comes into your world who has a stutter, if you remember it, and all you need to know is that I just need to give time and space and for this person, you'll really make their day. Because I know when I didn't get that, and then when I did get that, that was the difference between having a terrible day and thinking about it for days and days on end, against the opposite of just walking away and just thinking that was a cool engagement and stuff, and just walking on and going on with life and with a smile on my face.
Well, Rich and Mitchell, it's been a real pleasure to have you here today. I've learned a lot, so thank you for sharing your experiences with me. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah. I mean, we felt heard, so thank you. It's been awesome.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so much for sharing about what Rich and myself have got to say together. And so thank you for letting us be heard.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Visit our website at www.emergingminds.com.au to access a range of resources to assist your practice. Brought to you by the National Workforce Centre for Child Mental Health, led by Emerging Minds. The National Workforce Centre for Child Mental Health is funded by the Australian Government Department of Health under the National Support for Child and Youth Mental Health Program.